Hey there, EB here on our Anything But Bland weekly update. It's a short week, so I'm doing this on Wednesday, day before Thanksgiving. As I've said before, Thanksgiving is one of my absolute favorite holidays. I have an opportunity to really sit down and reflect on, the year and what I have in my life to be thankful for. Personally, today is just a magical day for me and my wife, Renee. We've been married 37 years. She's just an incredibly great partner to have, uh, raising my children and, what she does for me and what she does for our dogs and our friends. She's just really a caring person. And gives so much more of herself than she asks in return. Beautiful, absolutely outside, but inside as well. And, she is somebody that you can always count on. And I said on a tweet this morning that, it's like Bruce Springsteen, two hearts are better than one. And so today is her day, more so hers than mine, because I just feel so fortunate. So thankful for what I have in my life. So thankful for uh, my business. So thankful for what has transpired since the beginning of the Murdaugh case. So thankful for all of you. At the same time, it is bittersweet because I know that there's many people in this country and world that are suffering right now, based on the economy, what's happening with our administration, immigration policies, families being broken up, people being arrested who are legal citizens, um, and just the economic threat of losing food, food security, as well as what's going to happen with healthcare. So it's really scary times. So let's just jump into it. Um, this week, Judge Curry, Cameron Curry, who is a United States Federal District Court judge here in South Carolina, dismissed the criminal cases against um, James Comey, the former FBI director, and the current New York Attorney General, Letitia James. As you recall, Trump ran on a large portion of his platform was that he was going to seek retribution against those that he felt like wronged him in his first administration, as well as those that may have wronged him in his mind after the administration when he was a citizen from 20 to 24 before his second term. Um, Lindsay Halligan was appointed as a temporary U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia. Uh, Temporary appointments are 120 days. After that, their position is terminated, and if they're going to continue to be a permanent U.S. attorney, and that's what she still is calling herself, by the way, you have to be appointed uh, by the Senate and confirmed, which she has not. It has always was problematic, this appointment. She had no criminal experience. She was a personal attorney, an insurance defense attorney who had never tried a criminal case and had no criminal law background whatsoever. And the reason that she was appointed was because uh, her predecessor, who was appointed by Trump, refused to bring criminal charges against Jim Comey, nor any other attorney in the Eastern District of Virginia. And so Trump was very upset. And what he did is he sent out a private message to Pam Bondi that accidentally was uploaded to his internet account. And so he tweeted out that he wanted Comey, Letitia James, Adam Shifty Shift, as he calls him, Swanson, and a couple other people to be indicted. Didn't care what they would be indicted for, just wanted them to go through the criminal process. So she was appointed because these other U.S. attorneys wouldn't sign any indictments or bring them to the grand jury. The problem was that she was a unlawful temporary appointment, and Cameron Curry this week dismissed the charges against Jim Comey as well as Letitia James. And the statute of limitations for the criminal cases against Jim Comey for the Russia Russia, dossier that Trump always calls about Russia, fake gate, whatever. They had already run. She brought charges to a grand jury uh, about a day or two before the statute of limitations was going to run. And Cameron Curry said her appointment was unlawful, it didn't conform with Congress, and there's nothing they can do to cure it. In fact, she cited Eileen Cannon, who was that rogue judge, federal district court judge in Florida, who dismissed the document confidentiality case against Trump because she said that Jack Smith, the special counsel, special prosecutor, was unlawfully appointed, that there is no provision to appoint a special counsel. And so the charges are dismissed. Trump is obviously going to appeal. I don't think they can reinstate the ones against Comey. There's other deficiencies in both indictments. Another judge, a magistrate judge, heard the charges that were brought and had a hearing and said that there was prosecutorial misconduct in bringing these charges. Further, that Lindsay Halligan, who doesn't know criminal law, didn't show the right charging document to the grand jury to get the indictment. They didn't review it because in the initial charges, they refused to give her approval for an indictment on one of those charges. So she created a new charging document and only showed it to the jury foreperson and not the entire jury veneer, the entire grand jury, which there are 23. So Trump is going to be pissed. I think he's going to take it out on Pam Bondi because there's one person he really wanted to be prosecuted, and it was Jim Comey. The shot that's been heard around the world, Marjorie Taylor Greene last Friday night said that she would not be running for re-election in 2026. She said she didn't want to do it to her family and her constituents that she loves so much. She basically said that there were so many death threats against her based on Trump calling her a traitor. He called her Marjorie Traitor Brown. Traitor instead of Taylor. And Brown because that's the color that happens when green rots. Marjorie Taylor Greene said that loyalty is a two-way street. She obviously was tremendously loyal to Trump since her election in 2020. She has obviously said some really wacky things and done some wacky things. She denied the Lakeland, Florida shooting. She said that a lot of our climate problems are from the Jews controlling lasers in the sky and taking out utility grids. But as of late, she has seemed to have come to a conscience where she said, rightfully so, that the government should be functioning, that Mike Johnson is a horrible speaker for letting the Senate go in recess for almost 2 months during the government shutdown. She was pro releasing the Epstein files along with Laura Boebert, as well as the wacky Nancy Mace. They voted for it along with the Democrats. Plus, she said that the Obamacare subsidies for the Affordable Care Act should be continued because many people, including constituents, would suffer. Trump, in a savage public critique on her, singled out her, Tom Massey, and Rand Paul, who recently quit Congress, and called her a lowlife and a traitor. Again, if there's any other man that can call a woman a lowlife, and the women of America don't rise up. He also called, don't forget, a journalist earlier last week, pigly. Any man that could say that about a woman is scum in my eyes. And if President Trump walked in this door right now, I would call him scum for talking to a woman that way. Shame on him. Shame on his wife, Melania, for tolerating that. Not only should she shut him down from any type of, being together and eating dinner, but she should shut off what to him as a result of talking to women that way. The House Republicans are furious over that Marjorie Taylor Greene resigned. Some obviously don't like her, but they feel that this is Trump not being loyal and that if you ever question him or go against him, then automatically you're in his doghouse. Um, and they're going to resign because there are many people that do not agree with Trump right now. He has the lowest approval ratings at any time during any of his presidency. The bread and butter is his economy. He's underwater on that. There's a 13-point gap between his unfavorability on the economy and favorability. Um, and he's down to 34% unfavorable rating, which is extremely low. Uh, but we do know that there are so many people in Trump's graveyard. I'm going to forget all the cabinet officials, whether it's Rex Tillerson or McMaster, um, or his first Treasury Secretary. All those are in the graveyard. But we know that if you are in the House or Senate and you buck Trump, he will come after you, he will primary you, and he will excoriate you on True Social. So he's done it to Jeff Flake, a former senator from Arizona, Bob Corker, a former senator of Tennessee, Ben Sasse, who is now the president of University of Florida. He was a senator from Nebraska. He did it to Jeff Sessions, who was a senator from Alabama and his first attorney general. He did it to Senator Pat Toomey from Pennsylvania, and he obviously has done it to Marjorie Taylor Greene. Trump has been lambasted about not supporting a replacement for the Affordable Care Act. Remember, he's been running since 2015 to be president. And when he ran, he said that he was going to get rid of the Affordable Care Act and he was going to come up with a new, beautiful health care plan. Obviously, it's been 10 years. He hasn't done it. Well, this week he was about to announce it, and then it was interrupted by CNN that Trump announced his administration that they're not going to avail a new health care plan because evidently congressional Republicans got earful or windfall, got ear of the wind of it, excuse me, of the health care plan and said it's absolutely an abomination is the word that one House member used. Senator Mark Kelly, with 5 other veteran House and Senate members, did a commercial this week where they told active duty military to only to not, that you have a duty not to comply with unlawful orders. That is the rule. That is the oath you take. It's kind of like the Caine Mutiny and Hunt for Red October. If an illegal order is given, you have a duty to stand up and not follow through with that order. And so Mark Kelly, who is a former captain in the Navy, a fighter pilot, highest ranking of all 6, and an astronaut, the right stuff, the astronaut, okay? He's an astronaut. And he's also the husband of Gabby Gifford, who was the victim of political violence and was survived an assassination attempt with her suffering from mental disability as a result of it. Trump has called them traitors, said that they're seditious, said that they should be hung. I use those words hung. By the way, you haven't heard any of the Republicans stand up and say, whoa, what kind of language is that? They didn't say violate lawful orders. They said do not comply with unlawful orders. What are they? They didn't name any. If I was to get inside of Elise Slotkin's head, it would probably be the bombing of all these Venezuelan and Caribbean boats that are supposedly drug runners without getting congressional approval. If I was to think about some more stuff, it would probably be unleashing the police, unleashing the military on United States citizens in violation of the 1800s Posse Commissar law. It is something that concerns all citizens. We don't want our military patrolling in our streets. One of the main things is that Trump in his campaign and then after said, it'll be great to unleash the military in our cities. It'll be great training for them, to practice their craft against our citizens. So Mark Kelly said he will not yield. Pete Hegseth, who is the biggest joke of a Secretary of Defense that I've ever seen, couldn't hold the jockstrap of Senator Mark Kelly. Said that he's going to possibly court martial. Uh, they're going to make him come into active duty so he can be court martialed, or they're going to bust him down from captain in his retirement to a lower rank. I think this is a loser for the Trump administration, just another loss, just like he lost on Comey and Letitia James in front of our great district court judge in South Carolina, Cam Curry. The Ukraine plan, what a joke. Trump touted this 28-point plan, that this is what he came up with. As soon as the House and Senate saw it, they couldn't believe it. It literally was propaganda for Putin. Every single thing that Putin wanted, giving up land, lowering your forces from 900,000 to 600,000, land that Russia could not win in a war for the last 4 years, the Trump administration wants them to give up. That they agree forever never to be a member of NATO. Again, Rubio got an earful, the Secretary of State, from Senate subcommittees on intelligence and foreign relations. He then said, oh, this was a mistake. This wasn't our administration's wish list. This is Russia's. Trump came out and slammed them right in the face and said, no, he's not correct. This is his wish list. Rubio rushed off to Switzerland and then entered into an agreement with Ukraine for about half of those points of 28 points of light, as Trump said. Russia's never going to go along with it. The new plan says that they are not going to give up land, that they are not going to give up their desire to be part of NATO, and they're not going to reduce their troops by 33%. Trump had given them till tomorrow, Thanksgiving Day, to accept it, or they could fight on till their heart content, meaning that he's no longer going to give them weapons. Now Rubio's going to have to meet with Russia. I think they're going to meet in Abu Dhabi, and what's going to end up happening is they're not going to go along with what's going on. And the bombing's just been so intense this week. While all these peace discussions are going on, Russia is unloading on Kyiv and other cities. So Rubio says the new 19 points is a living, breathing document. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt's brother's former baby mama was picked up north, and she has been detained in Louisiana. Her brother has a daughter with this woman, and she has been picked up for overstaying her green card, which supposedly expired in 1999. What we're starting to hear from Republicans is that Trump is just overextending himself. He's dabbling in too many different things, sticking his beak in too many different things, whether it's football, that he doesn't like the new kickoff rule, how they do the new kickoff, whether he doesn't like the name of the Washington Commanders as opposed to the Redskins. He's getting involved in bringing Jack Nicklaus into the White House to redesign the golf courses at the Joint Air Force Base Andrews. They say that he's not able to stick with one thing at one time, doing too much on foreign policy, whether it's Gaza, which is a complete disaster right now. Bombing is going on both ways. So the ceasefire is already broken, although Trump's reticent about saying it. He's obviously involved in Ukraine. He's involved in Venezuela and threatening to invade Venezuela. Is he going to overturn Maduro, who I don't like, who clearly shouldn't be the duly elected leader of Venezuela? Or is he going to go over the quote unquote cartels? He is, I think, he's got his beak in too many different bowls. Kristi Noem is going to be in deep doo-doo. It has come out that she's the one who ordered the planes to defy the order of Judge Boasberg when they were deporting people. Um, After he entered in an injunction and said, turn the planes around, Kristi Noem said, too bad, we're going to violate the orders. I think that she's going to be in some deep trouble, and so is the COJ. Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, and Susie Wild, the chief of staff, their jobs are at risk. Um, I think also Kristi Noem, in a way, is going to be replaced sometime next year. I definitely think that Hegseth will be replaced. I think that Kash Patel has a problem. He's been using private military planes to go to football games. He used the SWAT team to protect his girlfriend, who is a country music singer. Trump doesn't like anybody else using government stuff for their leisure. He's the only one that can do that. So I think he's a problem. Pam Bondi, she's on thin ice. Losing the Comey prosecution is the one thing that she could not do. So I think she's in trouble. Hegseth called Mark Kelly seditious and despicable. I think that Pete Hegseth is despicable. I don't think he's seditious. I think he's a joke. Yes, I applaud his service, but since his service, he's been a horrible person, a horrible husband. He has been trying to be a mini-me Trump, and he can't hold the jockstrap of Mark Kelly. Trump had said in his first administration, and this is what caused Kelly and the others, Elise Slock and another senator from Michigan, to give this video, is because he said in a meeting with Mark Milley and Defense Chairman Mark Esper about the illegals in the city, why can't we just use our military to shoot these people in the leg? And from what I understand, everybody almost dropped their jaws. Don't forget, Trump questioned General Mattis, why can't we just drop nuclear bombs on China? Not China, excuse me, North Korea. And don't forget, Mattis said, sir, because we have over 140,000 troops in South Korea who would be killed by the spillover from the radiation. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a president of the United States that is unglued, unhinged. There's something seriously mentally and emotionally wrong with him. And you can't just hear this stuff and gloss it over. You can't hear a man on TV call a woman pigly and think that that's okay or that it's funny. The Trump administration is snapping up ownership shares in private companies that it deems essential to its national interest. That's pretty interesting. That's what Maduro did, and the predecessor in Venezuela. They just used the government to take over private enterprise. They said the former head of Venezuela before Maduro said that you can only own one home. So they just usurped the homes of people that had, vacation homes or multiple homes. So I am very concerned when the government tries to get in the boardroom of private companies. It's exactly every single thing that the original intent Republicans and conservatives who wrote the Constitution didn't want. They wanted the government out of people's lives and out of businesses. A volcano that has been dormant for 12,000 years in Ethiopia's northeastern region. It's called the Toulouse volcano, erupted without notice, which I just think nature is so extraordinary at times. There was a freed Israeli hostage that spoke out this week from the Nova Music Festival. He was detained for over 2 years, recently let out. Great job by President Trump doing that. I do applaud him for that. Who said that he was sexually abused multiple times by his captors and that they suggested doing a porn movie together. Ladies and gentlemen, these are Muslims suggesting that they do a porn movie. Muslims are against homosexuality. Um, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, two of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I still think that Patrick Mahomes is the best. I think that Josh Allen is second, Lamar Jackson is third. I think Jalen Hurts is fourth, and I think that Joe Burrows is fifth. But I think that Jackson and Josh Allen, Jackson for the Ravens, Allen for the Bills, are going to go down possibly without winning a Super Bowl. They are going to be the Mike Trout. They are going to be the Dan Marino. They are going to be the Charles Barkley of the NFL because they have so much talent but are not going to win. The Bills are really confounding this year. They play great against the good teams, beat the Chiefs. They lose to the Dolphins. They lost last week to a subpar team. So I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. The Bills are. Shador Sanders had his first win after his first start last week, which was great against the Raiders. The Raiders fired Chip Kelly after 11 games. Chip Kelly used to be the coach of the Eagles, did great, took them to the playoffs, coach of the 49ers, coached the Oregon Ducks, UCLA. But most importantly, last year, he was the offensive coordinator for Ohio State when they won the championship. And so when Pete Carroll got the job, hey, Patty Dasher, good afternoon. When Pete Carroll got the job, he brought Chip Kelly in. They signed Geno Smith to a 6 or 7 year deal at ungodly amount of money. And they got Gentry, who is from Boise State, who's one of the best running backs. And the offense is anemic. They're 2-9. They have Bowers from Georgia, who's, I think, the best tight end in the league right now. So they fired Chip Kelly. Shador Sanders is going to start again this Sunday. His stats weren't great, but he did win. Jimmy Cliff, the Jamaican reggae star, second only to Bob Marley, died at 81 years old. He had that famous song, "The harder they come, the harder they fall." One and all. I'm worried about my Eagles. They had a 21-0 lead against the Cowboys Sunday night, and they lost. I just don't think they're the same team. A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts are clearly fighting and not on the same page. The Eagles just aren't doing it this year. Their skill players aren't doing it. Jalen Hurts isn't running enough. I guess he doesn't want to get hit. Saquon Barkley is not having the same year that he had last year, folks. He was averaging over 5 yards a carry, 100 yards a game. I think he's got like 600 or 700 yards this year. He will get to 1,000, but he is not getting anywhere near the 2,100 yards that he got last year rushing. I think the Chiefs are, again, the most dangerous team in this league. And the Patriots, who are now 11 or 10-2, I think. I know they've been called fool's gold by Cam Newton. I don't think so. I think the coach, Mike Vrabel, is a great football coach. He's a baller. He's kind of like Dan Campbell for the Detroit Lions. And I think Drake May is going to be a really good quarterback. James Franklin took over the Virginia Tech coaching job, which eliminates Shane Beamer going back. Shane Beamer has always said that USC is his dream job, and they announced this morning that he is coming back for 2026. John Gruden, former coach of the Raiders, Super Bowl winner with the Buccaneers, he is a candidate for the Arkansas job. And Lane Kifflin is a candidate for every job that's open right now, but mainly Florida and LSU. I don't think he should leave Ole Miss. I just think that you're going to get fired at these schools if you do not win 10 games every year at LSU or Florida or even 11 and compete for a championship. You are going to get fired. I don't think the expectations are as high at Ole Miss. Nick Saban's right. The NFL does not let any teams talk to existing coaches until the entire season's over with. This is not the case with Lane Kiffin. Schools are contacting him. Supposedly he's going to be paid $15 million a year if he goes to LSU on a $90 million contract for 6 years. and they're willing to give him 25 million additional more dollars for NIL. So we'll have to see. Um, Oklahoma State got a new coach. I think they got the coach from New Mexico, who is 10-1. Um, Oklahoma State, don't forget, has tons of money because T. Boone Pickens is the one who, before he died, gave all the money to Oklahoma State. Um, OKC in the NBA is 17-1. They won the championship last year. Shea Alexander is just resumed exactly what he was doing last year during his MVP season. He has not played in the fourth quarter of 11 of their 17 games. That's how much they are winning. Zion Williamson is an absolute failure. The New Orleans team is a joke. I think they've only won 2 games. They fired their coach. LeBron is back and had a good first game. The Lakers are doing really well. UCal fired its coach, who was 6-5, Justin Wilcox, yesterday. Folks, there's 125 teams in the FBS. Only 12 can make the playoffs. Only one can win the national championship. These schools have such unrealistic expectations. I get it that donors want them to win and alumni and students, but 6-5 is pretty damn good because there's so much parity in college football this year. Dawn Staley made an addition to her staff this month. She hired former head coach Suvin Walvius, who was with the program as head coach from like 1998 to 2009 as the executive director of women's basketball for external affairs. Don't forget, she started a sheet company with microfiber with another friend of hers. I think they did really, really well on that company. Either it was bought out, it was called Sheeks Inc., SHEEX Inc. Florida State surprisingly said that Mike Norville, their coach, is going to be back for the 2026 season. Same with Shane Beamer. Norville, don't forget, 2 years ago was 13-0, and then they lost their quarterback in between the last game and the bowl game, and they didn't make the college playoffs when there were only 4 teams, even though they were undefeated. The buyout for him is over $50 million, and they're not willing to do it with his staff. If they were to fire Shane Beamer, I think it's $31 million, and then with his staff, it would be $39 million. So University of South Carolina isn't going to do that either. Rivalry week is here. We play Clemson on Saturday, USC versus Clemson. I'm a Clemson guy, even though I went to law school at South Carolina, even though my son Davis graduated law school, undergrad there. Sydney, my daughter, graduated Clemson. I just like Clemson's program a little bit more, their football program, not their basketball. I'm a big basketball USC fan, both women and men. Auburn's going to play Alabama to try to spoil their chances in making the playoffs. Right now, the teams are Georgia is 4th, Texas A&M is 3rd. Ohio State, I think, is 1st. We have Notre Dame there. We have Ole Miss in there. We have a number of really good teams. Alabama's 10th. So we're going to see what happens during rivalry week. Workers found a skull encased in a concrete on a Boston pier in the bridge. So we always heard that Jimmy Hoffa was in the end zone of Giants Stadium, and evidently mafiosos drop people in wet concrete. This was sparking fears that it was a Whitey Bulger hit. Whitey Bulger died in prison a couple years ago. Jim Mara, who had coached in the NFL with the Atlanta Falcons, who is now going to be the Colorado State coach. He's 64 years old. His father was a coach at the New Orleans Saints. He coached at University of Connecticut. He's 64 years old, so he took the Colorado State job. The World's Strongest Woman contest was this week, and the organizers allegedly found out that the winner was born a man. Explicit videos were sent around after she won the award. and they took it away from her and gave it to the second place finisher. And I agree. This is one thing that I may differ with a lot of you on, but please respect my opinion and I'll respect yours. All for transgender women and men. Do whatever you want. I'm okay with that. But I do not believe that if you were born with a penis and you decide to have it removed, surgically removed, and take hormones to be a woman, that you get to compete against women. No. You either want to compete, you compete against men, or you compete against other transgenders. But women should only compete against women who are naturally born females. That's just my opinion. Again, that's what I believe. Sean Duffy, who is our transportation secretary, gave a commercial this week and said, dress for respect. That people used to fly in my parents' generation, they wore sport coats or a suit or a nice sweater and slacks. It is true. If you go through the airport now and you see people, they're walking through in their pajamas and their Uggs, and they're dressed like real schlomos. Renee always dresses pretty when she flies, and I try to dress, with a nice quarter zip and a pair of jeans or a pair of Lululemon slacks. So let's just tighten it up. You'll feel better about yourself. What's the old saying? If you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you'll act good. The last thing is our South Carolina Supreme Court is set to hear the historic Murdaugh case, the appeal on Alex Murdaugh's request for a new trial based on the alleged jury tampering by Becky Hill and Judge Newman letting in financial crimes. I believe that the jury convicted him rightfully and righteously. Don't forget, I represented with my partner Ronnie 6 of the jurors, not because 3 jurors may have heard Becky Hill's foolish and fleeting comments that she made about his upcoming testimony, but because he was guilty. That's why. So that is the weekly update. Banana Hammock, happy Thanksgiving. I agree with you. President Trump is definitely scum. He's even worse than scum. He's pond scum or trash can scum. Patty Dasher, good afternoon. Happy Thanksgiving. She makes the decoupage stuff. She usually sends me stuff every year. We put it out at Christmas and at Thanksgiving. She's just a wonderful person. Linda Limerick, happy Thanksgiving to you. Jan Kruger, happy Thanksgiving. Scarlett Gibb, happy Thanksgiving. And I think Jan Kruger said, no, he's in the pilings of 696 Michigan, Jimmy Hoffa. That's funny. Jan, have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Have a great, great couple of days off. Love your family. Love your friends. I love you guys. See you next week.